Hello, wrestling fans. This is Sal Lasardo reporting in from Orlando, Florida, with this edition of Rough Cuts. Please be advised that these are my opinions only. They have nothing to do with Bill Apter or the WWE. This week's edition, we're going to talk about a very special performer. This is a spotlight special prior to doing the Rumble coming up. And over the course of time, women have become more and more involved in the world of sports entertainment. And if you go back to the days in the 70s with Fabulous Moolah and Wendy Richter when they had their feud, with Leilani Kai, Judy Martin, and then eventually evolving into Trish, Lita, Chyna, Kelly, Stacy Keibler, Francine, Dawn Marie, all these women wrestlers that came about and incredible performers. The evolution of women over the last 15, 20 years has been remarkable. So even the present day with Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, Osaka, the goddess herself, Alexa Bliss, Bayley, so many others. Now the newcomers coming in, Lacey Evans coming in, veterans like Candice LeRae. The list goes on and on and on with the WWE and throughout wrestling, but they've become more than basically just more than part of the show. They are now headlining and closing pay-per-views, just like when we saw with Becky, Ronda, and Charlotte, they closed WrestleMania. They're closing shows, they're main eventing. They are becoming more of a staple mark, a fixture in the world of sports entertainment. But a lot of these women, especially the Becky Lynches, the Alexa Blisses, the Charlotte Flairs, Osaka, Candice LeRae, they're in their primes and starting to, wind down at some point. What about the future of the business, the future for the women involved? Who is going to stand out and take the women's division on their shoulders and ride it for the next 10 years or so? And, well, I have somebody in mind that I think many of you might agree with, and she's from down under. I don't have an Australian accent, but she's from down under, and you guys know her as Rhea Ripley, and that is the focus of this edition of Rough Cut. We're going to talk about Rhea Ripley. Rhea started back in 2013 for Riot City Wrestling. She was a two-time champion back then, and she stayed with the promotion until 2017. Her last match was against a Kelly Ann in April 22nd, 2017 against Kelly Ann. So she started with a promotion called Riot City Wrestling. And she got noticed by the WWE and got repackaged, and she signed later on in 2017 as Rhea Ripley. She was involved in the Mae Young Classic for a couple of years. She made it to the semifinals the second time around, and she started to evolve. She came up and she started to pay her dues. She was a youngster coming in and started to show more and more as the weeks and months and years gone by what she can do. She had a long-standing feud with NXT with Shayna Baszler. She became the inaugural NXT UK champion when the WWE decided to expand overseas and have women represent overseas so they can come over here. She became the fixture and the first ever UK champion. So the company believed in her and saw the potential in what Rhea can do, and we're seeing it unfolding before our very eyes. My boss, Bill Apter, reminded me to go back and take a look at Sue Sexton. Sue Sexton. Sue Sexton was a grappler from down under from way back, and Bill had followed her back way back then and told me that Sue and Rhea are spitting images of each other. That if you go back and watch some of her matches of what Sue Sexton done, Rhea Ripley is a product of what she is as far as character development, wrestling ability. She's a true badass, no nonsense, goes out there. She can get on the mic. She could wrestle a toe hold from a toe hold, and she could mix it up with the very best. And there are some matches of Sue Sexton on YouTube, and I had a chance to go look, and when I watch Sue Sexton and I watch Rhea Ripley, I see spitting images of what Rhea is on what Sue was back in the day. Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of similarities between the two. Charismatic, energetic, full of life, can brawl, can battle, can do it all. And Rhea, the sky is the limit for Rhea. And just like it was with Sue, Sue was a champion and really took wrestling back then. I mean, a lot of people back in the day really didn't do much because women weren't really the major focal point as they are today. But if you go back, Sue really started to pave the way for people like Rhea in the country of Australia to be able to get to where we're at today. And Rhea Ripley is well on her way, if not there, to being a superstar to take the women's division and ride it on her shoulders for the next 10 years, easily. Her best match and her coming out party was when she highlighted the second night of WrestleMania 36 in a losing effort to Charlotte Flair. She had the belt. Remember, Charlotte won the Rumble and wanted to challenge Rhea for the belt, which Rhea lost, and a lot of it was surrounding that. Rhea lost because of visa issues and whatever. But needless to say, Rhea put on that match with Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania, besides The Undertaker and AJ Styles, which was cinematic, was one of the best matches on the card. And obviously, in my opinion, one of the best matches in the history of women's wrestling. Maybe aside from the triple threat with Charlotte, Becky, and Ronda, but this has to be a top 3 of all time. This really was Rhea's coming out party. She showed the world that she is here. I have arrived. I am Rhea Ripley. I am a badass from down under, and I'm ready to take on all comers. Because here I come. And that match really shown it. And from that match going forward and the War Games and everything she has done, you cannot be but in awe of this incredibly gifted, talented lady. A young, vibrant, exciting, that goes out there and gives you 110% night in and night out. I look forward to watching her because she's the future. She is the future of women's wrestling. Long after Charlotte's going to be gone, and Osaka, and Alexa, and so many others, you need someone to build around. And Rhea Ripley has got to be that person. Now remember, she lost the last standing woman match against Raquel Gonzalez on New Year's Eve recently, and people questioned it. Well, why question it? She lost in a losing effort because Raquel Gonzalez is going to be taking over the NXT division. And Rhea is going to be, looks like going to be moving up. And with Rhea moving up, the question is, where does she go? She's not going to go to SmackDown because Sasha's there and Sasha's got her hands full with Bayley and others. She can go to Raw because Shayna Baszler's there, so she could renew her acquaintance with Shayna Baszler. Osaka's there. Charlotte is still there. Alexa Bliss is still there. Becky Lynch, if she comes back, will likely be on Raw. So there's plenty of ample opportunities. Lacey Evans is on Raw in the feud with Charlotte as well. There are plenty of ample opportunities for Rhea Ripley to be able to be successful on Raw and then take the title. That's what it's got to be. She needs gold around the waist. I don't think she needs to pay any more dues. She is a champion right now. How does she get it? Well, my prediction is I think she wins the Royal Rumble. And we'll get into the Rumble in a couple weeks. I predict her or maybe one or two others. But my first pick is Rhea to challenge whoever the WWE World Women's Champion is. And I think between January and WrestleMania, possibly Charlotte may get Osaka's title, and that may be the whole breakup thing can happen. Or maybe Osaka's still champion, and it's a passing of the torch. Osaka will pass the torch over to Charlotte, to Rhea, and then eventually Rhea and Charlotte can do their thing. Remember, Osaka is been around a long time herself, so who knows how much longer she's going to stay. I would like to see Osaka pass the torch to Rhea, because we've already saw Osaka and we already saw Rhea and Charlotte on WrestleMania. I don't think we need that yet. I don't think we need to see that again. We could see that maybe at SummerSlam. And then also Becky can come back. Ronda can come back. There's plenty of opportunities for Rhea. And I would think that a perfect fitting would be for Rhea to have the belt and take the title at WrestleMania. Win the Rumble and take the belt at WrestleMania, preferably against Osaka. And that could then set things up further down the line with whoever. She can take on the all-comers, just like Drew McIntyre is doing. She could be a face, she could be a heel, she could be a Steve Austin, middle of the road. There's so many possibilities. But if you have not seen her perform, you are truly missing out on a very special lady. No doubt about it. The sky is the limit. She will get people over. She will hold the title. She'll lose it. She'll get it back. She will do a lot. And the WWE is smart, and I know that they will be. They could ill afford to let her go. Because believe me, promotions galore are going to grab her. They're not going to let her go. She is here to stay, and she is the future, and it's only going to get brighter for her. She is that good. If you've missed any of her matches, you need to go back and watch her in War Games. Watch her matches against Bazo. Watch the WrestleMania 36 on night 2 that opened the show against Charlotte. I mean, that right there told you what you're getting of the future of women's wrestling. I mean, it's cut and dry. So that's my take on it. Rhea Ripley is the future for the next 10 years in the sports of entertainment for the women's division, and should be the focal point. She'll have plenty of opportunities on Raw, maybe at some point at SmackDown, but really her nemesis and feuds really need to be on Raw, and I think that's where she belongs, and I think she's going to do incredible. I can't wait to see what she's going to do, and I think we're all in for a real treat. I think what we saw at NXT is nothing compared to what we're going to see. And I also encourage you all to go and watch Miss Sexton's match, Sue Sexton's matches, because Sue really showed you of what Rhea is. I mean, these are really two images of each other. And Sue must be very proud of what Rhea is doing. Has to be. Has to be very proud of what Rhea is doing, what she's going to do, and where she's going, because she is a champion. And Rhea held both. Remember, she held the women's title in NXT. She held the UK champion simultaneously. But now she needs to hold the big prize, the WWE Raw Women's title. And it's coming, I believe, by WrestleMania. It has to be. SummerSlam the latest, but I'm going to say WrestleMania. Because the future can no longer wait. The future is now, and she needs it now. And she deserves it. She deserves it. We're going to have a live crowd in Tampa this year. She deserves it. Hands down, Rhea Ripley is going to be world champion by WrestleMania. And I think she might win the Rumble. If she does it, somehow, some way, she's going to get involved. And she's going to walk away with the title. So for this edition of Rough Cuts, I wanted to say, everybody, please be safe. I know things are trying times. Congratulations to Raymond James Stadium for getting WrestleMania this year. They're going to have some limited capacity on fans. Rhea, can't wait to see every Wednesday night when she's out there. Now she's not on, so it'll be interesting to see when she comes up. But please, if you have not seen her, you do need to check her out. Go to the WWE Network library, YouTube, see what she's done, and pull up what Sue Sexton has done, and put the two together, and you will say, you know what? Wow, spitting images of each other. Two amazing performances, except now we're in a different time where women are getting more airtime and more respect and doing a lot more. But Sue, I know she's, according to Bill, look, Sue's very proud of her accomplishments, but Rhea's definitely carrying the torch and going to carry it forward. So for this edition of Rough Cuts, this has been Sal Lasardo, reporting in from Orlando, Florida. Yes, Buddy's barking in the background. May all your matches be a main event. Be safe. Be careful. I'll be back with my Royal Rumble predictions and preview next week. Have a good one, everyone.